Public safety. I'm not here. But yeah, I'm engaged.
All right, I got you. No worries. All right. Well, how you doing?
I'm chilling, man. How are
You
you?
chilling? Where?
Yeah.
Life is going by over here. But how's the fam? How's the music?
Yeah, you know, I am, bro. Last time we spoke about music,
Mm-hmm.
what, 3 years? 3 years.
That wasn't that long.
But well, no, we did. I mean, because we've talked about the last. Oh no, wait, we talked about 187.
Yeah,
Um,
of course.
but
That song
no,
still bangs, bro. I'm telling you. I still bump that whenever it comes up. Cranked. It's cranked.
yes, no, that. But no, I'm finally working on the second album right now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Any leaks you got for us?
No,
Not yet. All right. Fair enough.
it's all. But no, like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, every day it gets closer, and then every day it gets further
Gotcha.
from being finished.
Gotcha.
But I am finding a good spot. All right, how's this lighting?
Lighting's good. It sounds good. I'm not hearing any of the wind, so I think we're chilling.
All right, cool. But no, yeah, bro, I'm chilling. Man.
Oh yeah. Well, I want to start by thanking you for taking time out of your day to talk to white man. Yeah, hopefully this conversation is just going to be productive. As a little bit of background, what year did we meet?
Bro, it had to be 2014.
2014
13?
at the summer camp, right? Some church summer camp. You were. I still thought I was going to be a rapper, which foolish dreams, but
yeah, more so.
You were up there on stage and stuff, spitting some spoken word, and they were really good. And so we just kind of connected based off of that mutual interests and love for hip hop, and kind of been in touch ever since, right?
Yeah. You know what's crazy about that day, bro?
What's up?
So a little backstory on that open mic or talent. It was a talent show. And
was it? I feel like they were just like, the way I remember it is that it was just like, hey, anyone else got something to share? And you're like, I definitely do. I got a whole bag full.
Bro, so it was like every church camp is like, okay, at the end of the week we always do a talent show, and that was one of the camps where we had mixed with different churches, and so something went wrong where they're like, we're just gonna throw our talent show during lunch, where like the big ass mess hall where everybody's just eating and talking about whatever, like, hey man, what do you want to do after lunch? And people are up there singing their heart out and no one cares.
And then you get up there and it's dead silent.
Bro, that's
everybody's listening.
When we were eating, I was literally, bro, Jalen was there. Like, because Jalen and I were talking. I was like, bro, I'm not trying to go up there. And he was like, bro, you got to go up there. Go spit something. I was like, bro, nobody's listening. I'm not trying to waste these bars on nobody listening. And he's like, bro, just do it. So I go up there. And like you said, as soon as I start spitting, like everybody's dead silent. And I was like, oh, shit. And after that, bro, when I got a standing ovation, that was the moment where I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. It was that moment, bro.
Got you.
Yeah. And then
that's crazy.
That's so yeah.
I think the difference was that what you had was original, but it also like it had a very distinct flow and cadence to it that like you're still friends with Emily, right? Like, you remember her?
We still are in contact.
Like her poems are insane. Like, they're very good, but the thing is they're more for like reading than they are for performing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas yours is 100% performance, and so like everyone was just sitting there doing. No, it was. But like, everyone's sitting there doing like sandwich punch at my table and like the double tap game, you know?
Yeah.
Hold up. Shit. There we go. And then all of a sudden we hear you go in the. And then the sandwich punch comes in. They're like, hey, no, what's up?
Bro, that's fire.
But nah, dude, that was. I still remember that. It was crazy. I remember me wiling up to you like, hey, bro, I rap too.
I remember that, bro.
And you were just kind of like, mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, take my number. It's cool.
Bro, take my Text Plus app. I didn't have a phone back then, bro.
It was probably email or some shit. But
I think it was Facebook.
I might have been it. Yeah, I think it was that. Now no one's on Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook's so
that could be a great segue.
Yeah.
People that are on Facebook.
Oh, you're right. Well, speaking of segues, the whole topic of today is the current social climate of America regarding the institutionalized and systemic racism that we have against African Americans. So, I come from a very conservative Christian Republican house, and since graduating high school, I've kind of come into my own social beliefs, own religious beliefs, even, and like I've kind of come to my own understandings of things. So I would describe myself as more of a centrist and someone who's just in the middle and like doesn't. I definitely don't want to label a Republican or Democrat because I feel like those two are too much involved with each other, and just intentionally stirring conflict to like warrant that label. But yeah, so like I used to be the hard ass that was like, well, we don't know why he was arrested, we don't know what happened in that altercation, all that. But at this point, there's, even if you are that person, I still feel like people shouldn't be dying. We shouldn't have this kind of domestic like police brutality being witnessed and just happening at all. So for me to come off of that high down to where I am now, like that's a big deal. And I don't want to give anyone the impression that, you know, that was like a recent thing, but no, like that, it's still, it's a huge deal. And I don't know, obviously I'm white, so like I don't really have like experiences with police brutality. I'm not worried that when a cop pulls me over, I'm gonna get handcuffed, right? Like I know I don't got drugs in the car. I know I don't have weapons. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing. I don't surround myself with those type of people that I would have to worry about those things. This is when they're gonna clip it right here.
Those kind of people.
Well, then, like I'm not saying that, you know, I'm not trying to point fingers or anything like that, but like, when I'm pulled over, I don't have any fear other than he might get mad, right? Like that's it. I know I'm not doing anything wrong, so why would I fear? But like that's not the case for most African Americans, right? Like I think you've had some experience with that, right?
Plenty, yes.
Do you want to elaborate on that? Give us some examples, maybe.
Well, okay. So I stay in Southside Linwood, which is basically Compton, but I'm not gonna be that guy that's like, you know, I stay in Compton just because Compton is popping. But Linwood and Compton are the same thing. At least Southside Linwood. Like once you go up like north, it's close to the South Gate, and so you know it's a little bit nicer. But so where I stay, you have to. It took me a while to realize, you know, why it is the way it is, right? Like, okay, why do we live here? Why do they live there? You got to trace it back to the redlining, you know, the 1930s and 40s, and the sectioning and, you know, equal housing program. So if you don't know about that, then this conversation is like, it'll go nowhere. You know, we have to speak from something with the same understanding of what has happened in the past, right? And I didn't know that, so I was just like, it just is the way it is, right?
Yeah.
And so, yes, the crime is higher here, and for multiple reasons. And so, ever since I was younger or like a teenager, similar to you, is like, well, not similar, but the same sentiment of I'm not doing anything wrong, so I should be okay, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
It was just like, well, obviously I haven't committed any crime, so I'm good. But then I get put in a police car just for standing outside, and then I'm like furious. And so there was this one instance where I was on the phone, and it was late. It was late at night. I was outside like by a donut shop, and I'm just talking on the phone, and a cop rolls up on me, and there's two of them, and they're like, I think they're like, yo, what are you doing? And I'm gonna say I'm talking on the phone, and they're like, they put me in the back of the car, give me your, what's your name, give me ID, all that shit. And I was, usually the questioning is always, if like, say I'm in a car with my homie and we're just parked, it's like, okay, what are you guys doing here? Where are you from? For me, it's always, okay, like, where are you from? Are you Palm and Oak Crip? Like, where, do you bang? No. Do you have any weapons in the car? No. You got any drugs in the car? No. What do you do? Like, are you on probation? Are you?
They have their bullet point list of things they ask you.
Yes, and gotcha. Those are the things that they would never ask you. You know what I'm saying? For obvious reason. But for me, it's like, I understand why you're asking me that, and at a certain point, I have to just answer the questions. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, no, yes, no, no, yes, no. I live here. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? So, and then even after, okay, step outside the car, and so this particular, the first time, like, bro, I was so hot because I was in the car. They're running the background. I don't have a record, so they're like, okay, you can go. And I was like, what was the reason for that? Like, was there any particular reason for that? And he looks me dead in the eye. And he's like, I don't got to tell you nothing. Like,
damn.
Basically, like, you already know what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
he's literally just like, I'm here, and this is what I do. This is what we all do. Deal with it.
Yeah, wow. And it made me feel stupid because it was like, I know why you did that, and me, I was trying to ask questions to. Honestly, I wanted to argue. Like, I wanted to be like, well, you can't search me if you don't have reasonable suspicion of a crime. You can't arrest me if I don't, without probable cause.
And he just shut that down.
There's no off. Yeah, and I just felt so like small. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I ain't got to tell you nothing. Bye. You know what I'm saying? And he really did not budge, and so that's when I was hot about that, right? And then there was another time where me and my homie Jalen, we were actually in the car, and they, these dudes were just they were young, you know what I'm saying? They were trying to be cool. It was I was disgusted just by how, like, or disgusted is a strong word, but they knew nothing was going on, and they knew what they were doing, and they were trying to play it off by being cool, you know what I'm saying? And like, there's different type of altercations that you have with the police, and these were the type where they're like, asking us you got any drugs, but they put us in the back of the car, and then he turns on, he plays K-Day, those of us that are in LA, 93.5, so it's like a Dr. Dre song. He turns it up, he's like, you like Dr. Dre? And like, I'm just like, bro, shut the fuck up. and
bro, that's something you'd see in like a Seth Rogen film as a joke, where it's like, hey, you young kids, you like rap music?
Bro, exactly. And
Jesus.
After that, we go outside, and there was other questions, and after that I was like, so let me ask you a couple questions. He's like, sure, man, yeah. And I was like, okay, I have a little bit, because I actually have I went to school I basically educated myself, but I have a certificate / degree in a PC 832, which has to do with arrest and firearms. And
okay,
so I did a chunk of what they teach in the police academy. That's why I know about probable cause, reasonable suspicion. Like, people know that, but
like, that.
Yeah, like the professor, he was an active sheriff, and so
gotcha.
He was telling us, and he was, a lot of the people there were trying to be cops. Like, I was like, my mom wanted me to do some public safety shit, and like, that's something that I'm just glad I didn't get into, but I had to get that certificate in order to move forward with that. And so there's certain things that you as a police officer, you take into account that can override reasonable suspicion. Like, you can search somebody based on different bullet points, but it has to be like 2 or more, right? So one of them would be time of day. If it's nighttime, okay, that's a good one. 2, high crime area. Yes, okay, but it can't be just high crime area. It has to be one. Like, I'll forget if it's like
high
2 or
crime
3,
area
but if it's
at night.
high crime area at night, and then if you're outnumbered. So these are all things that they consider officer safety. So I am searching you for officer safety because it's dark out, high crime area. There's more of you than me. I have the right to search you, and it's understandable. I'm not going to argue with that. Yeah. But when it was me by myself, like against 2 police, like you don't got to search me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Without at least reasonable suspicion, like. But in that moment, like, I'll be honest, like, there's so many emotions that are going through your head when it comes to, like, am I gonna be like, no, like, what's the reasonable suspicion, or what's the probable cause? Like, what I do? Are you detaining me? Like, I have not reached that point, but I'm very close. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, it was just like, I'm gonna just let it happen. So anyway, I asked him, I was like,
sorry, don't mind. I feel like the moment you start lashing out, like, well, why are you confronting me? That's when they go, okay, we got one. You know what I mean?
That's facts. They want you to. Well, I'm not gonna say they want you, but
it feels like
the power trip is crazy, bro. And I've seen it with my homies where somebody is now speaking up, and that it's like a parent to a kid. It's like, oh, you wanna talk now? Well, okay, I'm a squeeze it a little harder, you know what I'm saying, so you can shut the fuck up. And that's just how it goes, you know. I'm not saying either is right or wrong, because if you got something to say, I'm gonna say. If I got something to say, I'm gonna say it to you. It doesn't matter who you are. I'm a man, you're a man. So if I have a question, I'm gonna ask it. All these altercations that have happened, I was scared. I'm not gonna lie, you know. And so this last one, when, you know, he put us in the car, put some Dr. Dre, I was like, okay, you a dweeb. Let me talk to you. And I was like, so, like, man to man, like, I know a little bit about this PC-32 and PC-832. Like, I know that y'all can do that. So what is your justification? And he was like, what? Well, yeah. Well, actually, so because I stay right on Long Beach Boulevard, and if you know or don't, like, that's like a hot spot for prostitution, right? And
yeah, I had a manager who was from Long Beach, and he was like, shit's ghetto.
So that area is right where I stay. It's very, very hot. And so he was like, well, right now we have this ordinance or whatever where we are cracking down on prostitution. And so anybody, like, we can search anybody because we're trying to save these women. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't say it like that, but that's basically what he's saying. Like, we have the right to search anybody in case, you know, that's going on. And so I was like, you know, I get it. I'm not gonna argue with that. But then he was like, you know, time of night, and your window, like, because my own Jay was like, your windows are tinted. So things like and I appreciated the conversation because he was telling me things that I did learn, and I'm like, damn, y'all really got every corner covered. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that you can't search me, but then there's reasons why you can, and then that's when it goes back to, like, damn, they really can do whatever the fuck they want. And as much information that I had at the time, they're like, well, yeah, it's cool that you know that, but you didn't know this. I can do, you know what I'm saying? And so it kind of became like that. And I thank God I haven't had any brutality, any type of physical harm to me. And that's just by the grace of God. Like, people that I know, like, I know somebody that has been shot by the police, and there's just so many factors that go into that it's like, okay, you can, I know it's going around, we're talking about, like, yeah, white men, they get killed by police and stuff like that. And I understand the argument based on numbers, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not, okay, well, I'm gonna ask you, what are your thoughts on black crime, or white on, like, what do you think about that?
Damn. All right. Well, Like in terms of what? Like, are we talking ratio? Like, is that what you're asking about?
Are you if somebody's talking about police brutality
Mm-hmm.
and somebody says yeah, but black on black crime is super high too, like what on to that?
So I feel like black on black crime isn't the statistic that we're looking at, so it's not necessarily relevant. Blue on
Yeah.
white, that is related to police brutality, so that would be a relevant factor, or a relevant statistic. But like, just to throw out, yeah, well, African Americans are killing each other every day, like, you know what I mean, like that shit. I don't feel like that flies in the conversation because that's not what it's about. You know what I mean? People like to tie it in by saying like, well, the officers are fearing for their life. Statistically speaking, X, Y, Z, maybe they're not safe. But like, in pretty much all of the cases where we've witnessed an African American or any minority be killed by a police officer, the police officer was horribly in the wrong and already overpowering or exerting force on that person. So I don't feel like black on black crime is relevant to the discussion. Like
and because I wanted to talk about that because black on black crime is a term that was used to help America sleep at night because it's like, where do black people live? With black people. Where do white people live? With white people. So it's just crime. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, in its proximity. So it's like if I live with somebody or I live around somebody and they're making me upset or they're doing something to me and I do something to them, is it because of their race or is it because we live close to each other?
Yeah. I mean,
you know what I'm saying? So you will never hear white on white crime because it's like, oh, this guy killed this other guy because you're not going to mention his race, you know what I'm saying? But it only becomes a factor when it's race. But what I was saying about like the whole, well, black people, they commit more crimes, and like you were saying, alluding to people being like, officers are afraid for their life. There's so many times where you got to think about, like, put yourself in the shoes of living in the hood, like, you know how outpowered and outgunned we are by police, and like it's pretty much stupid. It's murder to do something to the police. Like, why would I be stupid to be like, yo, I'm gonna shoot this cop? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he's like, what's gonna happen to me? Like, you don't get out of that. You know,
they're not gonna let you go.
So it's like, to be like, yeah, the police was afraid for his life because he was about to do something. Like, niggas, it's not stupid. We're not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we like planned it out and we're like, yeah, we're gonna do this XYZ, if we organize, then yes, it's gonna happen. But if it's me versus like 3 cops, they are not afraid for their life, bro. They are not afraid for their life. So that's something where it's like that just really upsets me, especially because I've been in those situations where once the cops are like, yeah, we'll talk some shit to them, you know what I'm saying? We'll say this and this, but like, nobody's doing nothing, man. And if they do, then they do, but it's not as black and white as that part in the poem where it's just like, yeah, they're always afraid for their life. Like, I understand why they're afraid for their life. Like, I would be afraid for my life if I was a cop too, because like everybody's trying to kill me, and
especially right now.
So yeah, exactly. So I understand that sentiment, but to be in the situation of I was afraid for my life, so I had to do XYZ, that's not happening.
Let's actually speak on the cops right now, for a second. Like, what do you think, in your opinion? Because granted, I live in an area where like it was hailed as like the second safest city in the world, or not in the world,
that's
but
hilarious,
in America for like 3 years running. And then
what does that even mean?
We had a PTSD like war veteran kill someone who I knew secondhand outside of a Walmart, and now our ratings dropped essentially, right? But like that was newsworthy for my city, and I don't mean to diminish what happened in that event at all. I'm just kind of using that as an example. Like, we don't really hear a lot about what goes on in our city because everything's kind of under wraps here. But so my experience with, you know, with cops and being able to decipher like the good eggs from the bad eggs, it's not even like a factor in the scale of the entire country. Like, this city does not matter to that at all. So what do you think like the ratio is in your experience based on the area that you live or based on areas you've been to? What do you think the ratio is between the good cops and the bad cops? And this is entirely your opinion. There's obviously like I'm not.
That's such a layered question when it comes to. I'll put it like this, bro. Not to be on some like we're all people shit, but we're all people, right? So it's really like
we are.
how many good people or bad people with a badge are in my city. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not like. That's something that I can't answer and I won't even try to answer.
Gotcha.
Because I've had many respectful altercations with the police. I've had many like nervous, like I can tell they're nervous altercations with the police, and I've had many like just asshole police talk to me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna try to make numbers and be like, well, based on how many situations I had. Because I've had more negative. Well, no, I've never had a positive experience. I've never had a police help me out with anything. You know what I'm saying? Like,
gosh, you've never had the Lil Wayne story.
You said but that's just me, and I know that there are good people out there that happen to have a badge, but that badge represents bullshit that I will never until it is fixed or whatever that means. I'm not even gonna like, because I'm not educated enough on legislation and policy and things to be like, this is exactly what needs to happen. You know what I'm saying? I do like when people are talking about like defund the police. That of course is very layered as well. You know what I'm saying? I do believe the funding that they have is far higher than it needs to be. And did you see that video Propaganda did with the Cheerios?
Which one was that?
Propaganda. He did a video like visual representation with the Cheerios.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Okay, so it was just like, just imagine. It's specifically a visual representation, so I'm going to try to explain it. But the budget or the funding that the police have, if we took some of that budget that is allocated for police and put it into, after school programs, if we put it into certain mental health institutions, if we put it into, food banks and things like that, that would, in housing situations, that would minimize crime instead of giving these motherfuckers a tank, then it's like, that's a start. You know what I'm saying? Because we live in a militarized state. Like, the police are, not only are they gangbangers, but they're military. And so...
They're militant?
Yeah, and so...
Gotcha.
The problem is not necessarily just the police. It's they are enforcing things that are already going on to basically tie the little knot at the end. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, if this housing is the way it is, if there's no funding for if this education is poor, and this is like, of course there's going to be crime. So now they're going to do what they're supposed to do. Like, no one is saying that crime is not happening. It's just a matter of, why is the crime happening? And that's something that people don't want to talk about, because I'm not going to lie and be like, no, everybody in the hood is perfect. You know what I'm saying? And I'm also not going to play the victim for anybody. Like, yeah, we're fucked up because of the white man. Like, I'm not going to say that, but those things have like generational trauma and things like that we're still healing. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of people, like, crime, you like, just to say the word crime, you think of what? Like, killing, robbing, so whatever. But if I need something because I got fired, because of XYZ, and I steal something, yeah, it's a crime, right? But it's like, okay, why did I steal it? You know, and I'm not gonna justify morally stealing. That's a whole nother topic that
Topic for another time.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is crime is happening. Why? And if we can focus on minimizing crime, not by having more police is not going to minimize crime. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's just going to crack down on the crime. It's not going to be like, oh, well, more police, let me stop doing crimes, you know, because that's just not how it works. It's more so, why am I doing this? Because it's just a matter of when you're a kid, you do things to not get caught. You learn how to not get caught doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly what I was about to say. Like, if we just add more police, the public's just going to get better at not getting caught.
Exactly. That's it's not about saying, and I'm not going to say yes or no to no police at all. But what I'm saying is, let's focus our energy and our education, our organization on things that are more so healing and providing that would minimize the crime. That's what I care about. That because police are like the government, all that shit it's doing exactly what it was supposed to be doing. You know, people talk about it's a broken system, and I'm not gonna be like it's not that black and white. Another pun, pardon it, but what I mean is that the way that police operate is on purpose. Mm-hmm. The way that, I mean, I'm sure you're very aware of the crack epidemic in the 80s, yep. You know, like, so it's like, okay, they brought that crack from different countries into the hood, and now it's higher. So it's like, okay, the mass incarceration, all that shit, like, you can ignore it and say it's not real, but just put two and two together, and, you know, the math does itself. You don't got to put two and two together. And so knowing that niggas need money, give them drugs, have them sell it, and then also bust them and put them in jail. Like, the system is working very well. And so am I saying go sell some drugs? No, I'm not saying that. Am I saying it's right or wrong? I'm not saying that either. I'm not saying if it's right or wrong. What I'm saying is, if we were to focus, like I said, on more opportunities, defunding how much money we put into the police system and all that shit, we put it into these different institutions, like tutoring institutions, after school, all that shit, put it there, I guarantee you there's going to be a lot less crime. You know, I'm not saying, because there's always going to be crime, there's always going to be racism, there's always going to be hate.
I mean,
all that, you know what I'm saying?
Crime is not unique to one race. Like, Cain and Abel, right? you can't say race is a factor in that at all. Like, that was what, like, the first murder in history? Like, come on.
Yeah.
But, like, no, I think they
were black.
Yeah, probably. they definitely weren't white. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
But, like, I think you're absolutely right. If we started focusing more of our resources towards lifting people up rather than putting them in prison, I think the community just as a whole, whether it's white, whether it's black, whatever it is, like, that community is going to be better off because you have a positive net force.
That's exactly why your city is the second safest city in the country, because y'all have all those things. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so those are the uncomfortable conversations that people don't even know what they have. And it's like, if you grew up in a certain house with a fireplace, and then you go to somebody and it's like, yo, where's your fireplace? They're like, where's our what? Yeah. Where's your fireplace? Like, what the fuck is a fireplace? You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, yeah, you don't have a fireplace, and you don't even know what a fireplace is. Like, that's the type of thing where people coming from this argument of, no, like, police are doing the job, whoop-de-whoop, like, you don't know that we don't have what you have, and you don't know what is going on here. You just watch Fox News or whatever. And so it's painted in a certain way. And so that, like what you're saying, everything would be better off. That's why your city is better off, you know?
Yeah.
And if we were to just focus on making our city better off, hell yeah. You know, and then, you know what I'm saying?
But then, of course, comes the argument, like, of how exactly, like, what is it you focus on to do that? Because I know the common thread is that, or common thread amongst people in my communities, would be that, oh, well, the dads need to not leave. The dads need to, step up. And there's probably a grain of truth to that. But at the same time, like you said, there's circumstances for why they may not be there. Like maybe they were hustling and trying to feed their kids, feed their family.
Yes, and see that is very multifaceted, right? That's where it comes to. Okay, this is not a black and white conversation. Where yes, there has been a high percentage of let's take the fathers out of the family purposefully. You know what I'm saying? There's proof of that, but also a lot of us are ignorant and stupid. A lot of men are stupid, and we're trying to have sex with anybody we see. And I personally, and many others, blame the media, the music on that, right? Where it's cool to be like, okay, let me go hit that, you know what I'm saying? And then they have a kid and you dip. So
I mean, Tech Nine recently had a song featuring a 14-year-old rapper, and in that song he talked about getting a threesome. So
that's what I'm saying. Like we don't
Case
even
in point.
we know about this before we even understand what it means, right? Like fucking hoes and like I didn't knew what it meant, but I was saying it, you know? And so and again, hip hop has been infiltrated, right? These rappers are used as pawns to say these things. You know, this shit sells. Why does it sell? Because it's cool as fuck. But then also there's an agenda behind it, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like art imitates life, then life imitates art, then art imitates life, right? So like when it comes to like gangster rap, that shit was based in real life, and then you have kids listening to it and then wanting to be that and then rapping about it, even though they weren't really rapping it, they weren't really living it. And now you're completing a cycle that now you're just doing what the rapper said when he wasn't even doing it, but now you want to do it, and so you actually start doing it, and it completes the cycle. Now we're killing each other, and I have a very, very high reason to believe that is part of an agenda that was not created by black people. We're not just like, yeah, let's fuck up our community. It's like, I don't know if you're but anybody that's seen the BET Boondocks episode, you know what I'm talking about. That shit's hilarious. But anyway, when it comes to the fathers need to be there, there's many reasons why they're not. A lot of it has to do with mass incarceration, like, okay, let's put them in jail. But then a lot of it is our fault. And that is, again, where we as men, we as black men, black women, where once you break out of that cycle, once you break out of that spell that we've been placed under to raise your kids and do, like, if that's what you want, if you want a family, that's beautiful. And I think there are so many more two-parent households in black communities than there are not. But it also, that narrative of, single mother has been perpetuated so much, especially through hip hop. So that's, like you said, like with people in your community, that the fathers are gone. Yes, a lot are, but that's not everything it is. Like, you know how many people from a two-parent community go outside and fuck shit up? It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot do not have dads. Like a lot of us do not have our fathers, so that plays a huge part. But that's not the only reason. You know what I'm saying? And so that's not, like, I understand that conversation because it is a conversation that needs to be had, but have every two-parent household, but then still have, redlining and gentrification. Yeah. Shit's still gonna go down. It doesn't. It's not. That's not a. Okay, put that in. Everything's fine. No, that's just a factor, but it's not. It's not an end-all, be-all argument.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, this shit's just, it's every angle you can bring to the table. It's so complicated, and I think that's what makes the topic of systemic racism so difficult for a lot of white people to even bring up, because like no one has all the answers. Like, I think we're pretty much come to a consensus that Jeffrey Epstein was killed. It wasn't a suicide, right? Like, pretty much everyone understands and like knows that, right? But we don't branch that form of thinking off to things like this, where maybe this is calculated, this is planned. You sent me a video last night from a guy who speculated that the George Floyd death was a hoax, and I watched it personally. I think he's kind of doing the same thing that the media was doing and kind of leaving some stuff out.
He's reaching.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a reach, but like that idea is not far-fetched. The idea that they would, if they can get away with killing Epstein, why can't they get away with staging a murder of a black man by a police officer, using those police officers that witnessed it as well as the one who did it as scapegoats, and then reignite this flame of hatred and divide?
Yeah, like you said, I wouldn't go as far to disrespect Floyd and the family like that, to just be like, yeah, that shit was fake.
Oh,
but
of course not. Absolutely not.
If we were to come out with, if they were to come out with some evidence that it is 100% fake, I would not be surprised by any means. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, using our emotion for their own agenda, and that is what we're seeing the most right now. It's like, pick a side, bro, left or right, you know? And
yeah, everyone wants you on a side, which is exactly why I choose not to be.
Exactly. And we were talking about the whole, like, there's, you know, racism, classism, and if you and I are supposed to hate each other. That's what they want, you know what I'm saying? So we're not having these conversations, so we're not trying to, because as far as black liberation, I don't need you, you know what I'm saying? I'm not asking for your help, you know what I'm saying? But as far as capitalism, we can very well work together and do some damage, you know? And so that is what they definitely do not want, because there are black issues, there are white issues, there's, you know, Latino issues, there's all these different issues that need to be fixed and are being worked on by people that dedicate their entire lives to these things. Like, people are educating themselves to learn the system in and out so they can abolish and do all these type of things, change these laws, whoop-de-whoop. Like, people dedicate their lives to that. They're not asking nobody to protest for, we're not asking nobody to protest for the weekend to save us, you know what I'm saying? We're not asking anybody to tell me that my life matters. I don't need you to say that. Yeah, exactly. And obviously, yes, we are saying Black Lives Matter because we are treated like they're not. But when it comes to all this internet shit and, you know, white people and non-black people just, I realize my privilege and this and this. Now you're just giving yourself another pat on the back.
Pretty much.
You know what I'm saying? This is like, okay, how can well, yeah, I do feel pretty guilty about this, so let me just text my black friend, let him know. Okay, enough activism for the day. Let me post my black screen. I did my activism for the day. You know what I'm saying? And
there was I yesterday or 2 days ago, I went to the gas station just to grab some snacks because I was really hungry for some potato chips. But I came back, and on the corner of the street, 5, 6, 7 protesters. Guess what? All of them are white. Every single one of them. Why? Like, I'm not saying don't protest. Like, if that's how you truly believe you can make a difference, then do it. But like, kind of clear to me that no African American was asking him to do it.
Yeah, here's the thing, bro. So when it comes to the things that we are asking for, not asking anymore, the things we are going to do, things that we're going to make happen, it's like, I was talking to Jalen about this. It's like a whole, you know, they talk about the church, it's like the whole body, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, the arm doesn't need to know what the left arm, or don't even know what the right arm, like that's their duty, that's their gift. So the revolution, if you will, is the same thing. It's a body, right? So there is the hands that are organizing, there are the hands that are strategizing, there are the hands that are being tactical. There are different body parts that are doing certain things where it takes years. It takes dedicating your entire life to change a system that has been written against you, right? It's not going to happen overnight. Now, protesting is part of that body. It is the mouth, if you will, to where, yes, we're bringing awareness. We are letting you know that we are fed up, but it seems like right now everybody's trying to be the mouth, and Nobody's trying to be the hands. Nobody's trying to be the feet doing the groundwork. And I understand because you didn't know anything about this 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't expect you to do shit, but I don't want you to talk about it. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's what's frustrating about seeing a lot of, you know, non-black people protest to take a picture and post it and be like, I stand with you, Black Lives Matter. Like Black Lives Matter has lost all of its weight, all of its validity, in my opinion, because like being at a protest and hearing people just say Black Lives Matter with like no type of passion, no type of nothing, like it means nothing to me. And that's a whole nother thing. If we get into Black Lives Matter and who's funding and stuff like that, but that's not necessarily at this moment. But what I'm saying is, like you're seeing a bunch of white people protesting. It's like there's a certain point where everybody knows. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, we're like bringing awareness is not the case because we've done that, you know. And if you're not black and you're talking about, man, I care so much, like I'm doing everything in my power, like show me where your money's at, show me them dollars, you know. Like I don't need your post, but to do what we're trying to do, it takes funding, it takes money, and
it took money to build the system that's oppressing. It takes money to take it down.
And we are every day we're putting money into the system that is,
mm-hmm.
you know, oppressing. So if we're going to try to reverse that, whatever that looks like, it's going to require money. And y'all got money, you know what I'm saying? So if you really care, and again, if you're somebody that cared like before 2 weeks ago, I guarantee you they're probably doing something about it, and they've been doing something about it. But the people that all of a sudden I've never, ever heard you say anything, and you've never talked to me about this shit.
And now all of a sudden you got a fist in the air.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, the cool thing about it, though, is it is starting conversations, like you said, like you're having with your family.
Mm-hmm.
It's good because at this point, you can't deny what's going on. Like,
absolutely not.
Like, you can rebuttal it with all the stuff people are saying, but that's really just like diverting from the real issue.
Mm-hmm.
And that just proves that you don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to talk to you anyway, because again, I don't need you. We don't need you when it comes to, if you're not trying to do something out of love, out of empathy, because you care about another human being, get out the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to have an argument with you, and we're talking, and then you're like, damn, you're right, bro. What does that do for anybody? That just feeds my ego, and that just be like, yeah, fuck white people. Yeah, I just changed a white person's mind because he's a dumbass. You know, like,
mm-hmm.
Look, people could take that clip, but
they won't.
But what I'm saying is, like, the whole everybody speaking out right now, it has its place. Protesting has its place. Uprisings have its place. It is necessary, but it doesn't stop there, and it didn't start there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
And what we were talking about, what I want to touch on when it comes to like you and I coming together and being purposely, like you're either this side or you're this side. And you ever heard of the labor strike in 1892? I want to say it was in New Orleans.
Maybe. I might have heard of it a long time ago, but I know nothing of it now. So,
I want to say it was 1892. There's this labor strike in New Orleans where any type of occupation you could think of during that time, you know what I'm
mm-hmm.
saying, whether it be welding, whether it be bakery, whatever the workforce was, everybody was like, yo, we are getting paid far less than we should be. Like, let's just say it's like 25 cents an hour, and we are working like 16-hour days. So it's basically what we're fighting for right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, their minimum wage was a minimum wage, and this was black folk, this was white folk, this was, you know, Latin, Spaniards, Europeans, Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
It was the immigrants. It was people that were working, right? You know. Because there's really no lower, middle, and higher class. There's those that work and those that don't, you know? Yeah. So everybody that was working in New Orleans, they were like, you know what, bro? Like, let's go on a strike because you're black, I'm white, but we're both not getting paid enough and we're working too much. Are you with me? Yes, let's do it. So they went on a strike, right? Mm-hmm. And the entire all of New Orleans basically like shut down, like because electricians, they went on a strike too, and there was no lights, no cargo ships were going anywhere. Like the whole place just broke down and was like it was done. They could not recover. And after that, because they were like, we're not working until we change. So then they're like, okay, we're gonna change it. We're gonna give you a couple more cents. They reduced the hours, and so that is something that nobody's talking about, right? Mm-hmm. Like an actual labor strike, black and white and all races in between came together because on some capitalism, on some classism, on some money shit. Like we're fucking with your money right now.
Yeah.
So you have to do something about it because they don't care about race. It's not they don't care about that. But when it comes to messing with their money, they're like, let's put a stop to all that, and the whole place just shut down. And they're like, okay, we changed it. Now, a couple years after that, maybe 4 years, try to guess what law or whatever they put into place. We're talking 1896, 97.
Probably something about anti-strikes, huh?
No, close, but it was the separate but equal law. So basically, legal segregation. So that was okay, we need to separate these motherfuckers because if they ever come together, this gonna happen again.
They can do some damage.
And so, right after, because it was Plessy versus Ferguson, where it had to do with a black dude on a train, and so it's like that was what sparked it, but that was a reason to be like, okay, well, y'all see what happened, so we better separate y'all, but let's really connect the dots on why it was legal to have like a white restroom, a black restroom, or a white restaurant, a black restaurant. Like you can only stay here, y'all can only stay here. Yeah. Then 20 years down the line, that's when they do the redlining. That's when they separate the housings. And so when we think of that, what you and I could do because of the love we have for each other, the love we have for our people, and just being some decent human beings, what we could do versus, a capitalistic system is crazy. But no, let's have some race wars. Let's pin them against each other. And, all lives matter, blue lives matter shit. Like that makes me very upset. Now I hate you.
That's another thing though. Like I genuinely don't think that any of those three sayings necessarily have to contradict one another, and yet we've coined them to be contradictory.
Fucking all lives matter was only made to contradict. Nobody was saying all lives matter before we said Black Lives Matter. Excuse me.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But why? It's Black Lives Matter doesn't. It's not explicitly saying nothing else matters. And Blue Lives Matter isn't saying nothing else matters.
But I'm like, for someone to say Blue Lives Matter,
that one's kind of corny.
What'd you say?
It's kind of corny.
Well, the funniest thing about that is cops didn't wake up and they was blue. I woke up black, bro. So blue is not an ethnicity. It's a more of an ideology. So it's stupid. You can quit your job. You can decide whether you want to be a cop or not. I can't decide whether I want to be black or not. So to say blue lives, no.
Yeah, I agree. But man. This one's been a doozy. Dude. Is there anything else you wanna touch on? Anything else you wanna speak about? Because there is that one video you showed me that harps back to the funding on Black Lives Matter. I don't know if you feel comfortable to talk about that.
I don't have enough information to speak on something that I just don't. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
That's one of those things where believe half of what you see, some to none of what you hear, so we don't, all the shit that I just told you, I can't I don't even know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And I will admit that I'm figuring it out as I go.
You know what I'm saying? I honestly, I think most of us are. I know I am.
Everybody,
Like,
you know.
I can't say that this has changed like my entire worldview, you know, this past couple weeks, but like it's definitely like put a wrench in my train of thought, right? Like, I'm definitely open to seeing things differently now, you know,
Yeah.
and like I'm actually actively thinking about these things rather than just being like, oh man, that's so sad. All right, back to video games, you know.
Yeah.
So
And that's the thing, bro. Like that's what I do really want to bring home about the whole. If you're not speaking out about this, you're a racist. You know what I'm saying? Like that narrative gotta go because now we're just inviting people to take up space. Like we're just inviting you to perform. We're inviting you to be on your performance activism that does nothing for nobody other than make you look good or like make you look like you care. But I would much rather, because like we talked about like when this first popped off, you and I were saying like talking about whether whether you're if you're neutral about the situations, you take the side of the oppressor. Like I believe that, but I don't believe that means everybody has to talk about it if they don't know what they're talking about, you know.
yeah.
And reposting a cute little story is not like anything. It's not like oh wow, okay, yeah, they're on our side now. It's just like that's the easiest thing. Posting a black screen on your feed literally takes 2 seconds. And so I would much rather like how you and I had that conversation where you were like, I don't even post anyway. I like I have conversations like you say you were having conversations with your mom and your sister, I believe, and that goes much further than posting something on your Instagram just for people to argue with you. You know what I'm saying?
Pretty much.
It's not gonna go anywhere on the internet. And so like people wake up like, who can I argue with today? Like what can I be mad about today? Like that's not gonna change anything. So like we're saying about where you're like, okay, used to be like, oh, okay, that sucks. Let me play some video games. If you're not gonna do anything about it, like find an organization or like start educating yourself about things that need to be going, because I still need to do that. Like I have decided to be an after school teacher so that I can try to teach these kids, to love themselves, love each other, and get it like start doing things that are gonna set you up for a better life, and try to be there mentally for you, physically when it comes to exercise, be on your shit, like that will help your mental, all these things.
Yeah.
That is my role. I'm not going to go to school and try to change some legislation. That's not my job. But what I am going to do is I'm going to make some money, and I'm going to try to help fund these type of things. Now, back to someone like you, if you don't plan on doing anything like that, you can play your video games. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to, you don't have to feel guilty. That's what I'm saying. Like, you didn't do shit to me, and we don't need you to just take up space. We don't need you to just talk. What we do require when it comes to capitalism and when it comes to this system that is legally and actively oppressing people, if you care about that, then yes, you can do something about it. If you care about me as an individual, we'll have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? No. But when it comes to damn, I feel bad that happened. That's good because you're a decent human being. You know what I'm saying? But it for some people, it doesn't need to go like any further than that if you don't have the passion and you don't have the empathy, if you don't have the curiosity and the desire and the like intrigue to do something. And that's what we are trying to, what this narrative, social media has made this narrative of trying to force you to care. If you don't care, I don't care. And I'm talking about the whole telling me my life matters and telling me how upset you are about that, telling me all the privilege that you have. I don't care if you talk about that or not, because that's not going to help me. You know what I'm saying? It's all performance. Now, and I'm talking in circles at this point, but if you did care, you would have been done something about it. And that's what I want us to stop doing, is forcing people to perform, forcing people to post some shit, forcing people to... Because it really, like I said, after perpetuating all that, it just makes you look better. Because you didn't do shit, but you posted something saying, Black Lives Matter, I stand with you, just for me to like your post and go on with our day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Pretty
saying?
much, man.
So
Like you said, that's exactly why I didn't feel the need to do anything about it on social media. I don't post on social media enough as it is about my everyday life or my thoughts for that to come off as even remotely genuine. So I liked a bunch of them when I saw them, but like that was it. You know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's just I don't feel like social media is going to be the platform of which we mobilize change. It's a speaker box for it, but it's not going to be the engine, right? Like it's not what's turning the wheels.
Yeah.
So
It's definitely, like I said, it's part. Social media, if we're going back to that body analogy, is definitely a part of the body. Like, because without social media, so many people would not have any idea what's going on.
oh yeah,
I have learned so many things, and yourself as well, because of social media, and that's because it's the people. Even though some of it is infiltrated as well, some of that information on social media, like, I don't believe, and it's like, where the fuck did that come from? But a lot of things that, you know, that we are posting and sharing, like I said, it's very, very valid. Like, don't get it twisted between posting information, posting, petitions, whatever it is, helping people educate themselves versus just getting on top of your soapbox and start talking about how upset you are that people are getting killed and that Black Lives Matter. That's the shit that does nothing for nobody but take up space. Now, if you're posting informational content and you're like, oh, I should share that because that is actually going to help towards this fight, then yes. So I hope that doesn't get twisted when it comes to, I don't need you guys saying shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's more like, I don't need you saying anything that came just from your feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what everybody's in their feelings right now. Everybody is, doing things based off emotion. I even started doing things because this is tied into real shit that I see. I see it. I have seen it. You know what I'm saying? Got homies that have been killed by the police. My brother has many friends. Like, so it's like, this is a triggering thing for a reason. People are protesting for a reason. We are upset for a reason. But when emotion is high, logic is low. So we're up here right now with emotion, and that's what I'm saying. I don't need any white people to be doing anything off their emotions. Any non-black person doing anything off emotions. If you want to do something logically, that's very appreciated, and I feel like you're a very logical person. You know what I'm saying? I don't see emotion in things that you do, and so that's why I said I respect our conversation, because even if you don't do anything about this and you go on with your life, I didn't expect it to happen, and I don't care if it does or doesn't. But what I do get upset is if I seen you posting some shit like, yeah, man, I'm just very upset. I can't believe this is happening.
Ready to go punch a cop.
Bro, I've been so privileged, like, and I'm realized, like, cool.
Yeah. Yep. No, I got you.
What's some shit that we disagree on?
I don't know, man. Like, actually, you know what? Hold on. I think capitalism is something we might disagree on, actually, because I actually believe that capitalism is a way for people to help elevate themselves out of bad situations, and based on your songs, some of the conversations we've had, my interpretation of what I have not heard you explicitly say is that you feel capitalism is one of the ways you and your people are being oppressed.
That's a shame that is the conclusion that I have presented by my music, I guess. I wouldn't say it's that simple when it comes to capitalism is... Well, okay, yes. The answer is yes. My opinion. But it's not like... It's more so when it comes to where our money is placed and how our money is going to be made and how we are able to have opportunities. Because what a lot of people... And again, disclaimer, I didn't go to school for this shit. I do not. I never worked for a corporation, so I don't know exactly what's going on. But based on my gatherings, what I'm saying is the difference between capitalism or socialism or communism, whatever. Like we have a basic understanding of socialism and communism through a capitalistic lens. You know what I'm saying? Like, we go to school in a capitalistic country, so whatever we learn about a different ideology is going to be through the lens of somebody that is pro-capitalism. And like you said, you being pro-capitalism, you're not. That's not the evil side that I'm talking about. What you're talking about when it comes to money, yes, everybody should, get your bread. But what I'm talking about when it comes to the ideology and how it has been thwarted and how it has been like twisted is the opportunities that would be in place because of socialism. And when y'all think of socialism, the first thing is like, oh, so I'm gonna work my ass off and all my money is gonna go to people on unemployment. You know what I'm saying?
Pretty much. I'm not gonna lie to you.
And of course that is the narrative that we've been told. But that's not, socialism wasn't created like, okay, well, unemployment is gonna exist, so let's create this thing. Like, unemployment and like welfare has nothing to do with socialism. You know what I'm saying? Like, socialism is an ideology that now we live in a country where XYZ has happened, and now people think, well, if we had socialism, that would go to unemployment. But that's not the point. The point is about providing equal opportunity for everybody, and that's when it comes to the race. Like racism and classism are very interconnected, because if you're this race, there's no way you're not going to be in this class. You know what I'm saying? So what I mean, and I don't know if we talked about if I explained like the pie analogy for like socialism versus capitalism.
I don't know that you did.
So the way that I see it, right, is there is a pie, right? And the pie represents resources, money. And again, when we talk about capitalism, it's not just about money. It's about things. It's about how do you get ahead, right? So resources are a huge part of that. So anyway, we have a pie, and it's all money, resources. And capitalism is, if you have the knife, you get to cut the slice of pie and give it to whoever the fuck you want. Because you worked, you pulled yourself up by your bootstraps, you worked your ass off, and now you have the knife, right?
You earned the knife, yeah.
And so that's all well and fine if like everybody had that opportunity to try to work to get a knife. But socialism is more, no, let's make some more pies. Like, let's create more opportunities where there are more pies, to where we're not just having one knife and cutting it and giving it to people. It's, you know what I'm saying? And obviously that's a very simple, like, there, you can poke holes in that argument, but that's the concept of capitalism versus socialism, where socialism is not, okay, I need you to give me your money because I'm not working. It's like, I'm not working because there's no opportunities where I live. And if there's people in a company, right, that company is a corporation, and that corporation has different headquarters and stuff, overseas, stuff like that. So the money trickles down, right?
Yeah.
And you know damn well the people that are working in said company are doing a lot more labor than their manager, right? Who of course has earned her position by doing whatever they did, right? So we can say they earned that position. But what I'm saying about capitalism. Hold on, I don't know if you can hear me.
I can't hear you over that siren.
And so if we got paid based on the labor that we do or what we work, that's closer to socialism. But capitalism is, I'm in charge and I own this corporation, and corporations are connected to banks, which are connected to politics. So everybody up here is getting what they need. Because when you talk about capitalism, you're not talking about that at all. That's what I'm talking about. When we were talking about, like, make your money, I'm all for that, because those can be interconnected if there were more opportunities for me to make money,
Gotcha.
And so these so capitalism is like, okay, I have the knife, I make the rules. You are my employee. You work for me. Therefore, you make X amount of dollars. And socialism is really just like, okay, all these workers is like, okay, how about, hey, we're doing this, I'm doing this. How about I get paid for the amount I'm doing instead of getting paid shit because I'm an employee. You know what I'm saying? So it's very, those are very loose terms, but that's what I'm talking about when it comes to capitalism being a form of oppression because of the lack of opportunities and the lack of like money, like where is the money going? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean by that.
Gotcha. All right. Well,
because like me trying to make money off merch or whatever, that could turn into capitalism. Like the idea of it, if I were to like start having people work for me and I'm like, okay, you do this and you get paid, but if I'm not paying them for the amount of labor that they're doing, I'm a capitalist. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, well, I started this brand, so I get to pay you whatever the fuck I get to pay you. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I was a socialist brand owner, it's really like, okay, you're doing this amount of work, because that's what the thing is. It's all about how much work are you putting in, how much are you getting paid for it. Like, especially like when it comes to these labor jobs where you're putting like physical labor and getting paid shit for it. That's capitalism at its work, at its core, because they are like maintaining this country, maintaining these corporations, working their ass off, sweating, you know, hurting their backs and getting paid this. But yeah, what did they just do? They made your life easier because you get to, you know, shop at this place, and because they were in the field doing this, and we have the corporation is so up here that's being like, oh yeah, you're making our money for us, but we're the ones making the money. Now, if that laborer was doing like getting paid for what he was doing, then that's fine. You know, you can work whatever job you want to work. But if you are getting paid for the amount of time and the amount of labor that you are putting in, that's not capitalism. But if you're getting paid shit money to make somebody else richer, and we were like, well, they worked for that position and they earned it. See, we have been tricked to feel like, oh, they did it, I can do it too. Oh, you know, just pull yourself out by your bootstraps. And I'm sure you heard the analogy, like a lot of us don't even have boots to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. So that whole thing, that whole narrative of capitalism is like, all you have to do is work very hard and you can become very rich. But if I live in this certain community that has no jobs, and like the job I'm trying to get to, I got to take the bus because like, and I'm, you know, like I'm not going to get rich. You know what I'm saying? So if there were more, like I said, I'm saying the same thing over and over, but if there were more opportunities, more jobs, and I don't really know what that looks like, but I know like there are some jobs that could be out here, you know what I'm saying? And it's not necessarily like, you know, just like inventing jobs. It's more so like, again, the education goes into that, but you know what I'm saying? So bottom line is, if you're making money for what you're doing, good, I'm all for that. But if you're making money for somebody else and they're not doing shit, no thank you.
I mean, capitalism was supposed to be the divisive topic here, and I still agree with you on that. Damn. All right.
and that's what I'm saying, because that if we have to break every conversation down that way in order to debate on it. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you were to disagree with that, I'm completely fine with that. Yeah. But if we're speaking from different like frame of references, we can never really have a conversation. You know
exactly.
What you were your idea of capitalism was, you are looking at the good sides of it, because these ideologies have good things to them. You know, like communism has a lot of good to it, but we've seen communism gone wrong. We've seen socialism gone wrong, but we don't want to admit that we're living in capitalism gone wrong. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So they have their upsides, but if we don't want to look at that, then we're gonna just argue. You know what I'm saying? So my favorite thing is being wrong, bro. Like I would love to be proven wrong about some shit, because I just be talking, but this is all based in things that I've studied and when I say study, like that's a very loose term, you know, like but
I got you.
I guess by what I've observed, you know. So if everything that I'm saying is wrong and somebody were to break it down and tell me how wrong it is, That's fine. I don't care about being right. You know what I'm saying? I just can't stand when somebody says some shit that like they don't know what they're talking about, and I might not know what I'm talking about, but I'll admit it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I got you on that. I mean, I personally, I think this has been a pretty productive conversation. I don't know if there's anything else you want to say. Now's your chance.
I'm trying to think of some wild shit.
Earth is flat.
I'm trying to get canceled, bro.
I'm not. I'm not. Nah, dude. My career hasn't even started yet, bro. I haven't even seen my first paycheck from Twitch.
Bro, how does Twitch work?
So you get a cut of pretty much everything. People can pay like a $5 subscription, and you get a cut of that. There are ads that are run. You get a very small cut of that. People can just donate to the stream, and you'll get a cut of that. So, yeah, no, it's...
You know what that's called? You know what that's called?
That's called working for Amazon. That's exactly what it is.
It's called capitalism for sure.
Yeah, 100%. But no,
that's funny, bro.
Yeah.
What are some things that, because it's very easy to live in these echo chambers where it's like we're just talking about things that we agree on and just spewing this shit and never really challenging these ideas. You know what I'm saying? So it's so important to challenge these ideas. And
absolutely,
I don't really interact with people that are quote unquote on the other side, because like I said, I'm not you know what I'm saying. But what would you say are some things that people are saying, I guess, speaking up right now, that you would agree with, that is kind of on the opposite side, if that makes sense? You know what I'm saying? The whole, like, you know what I'm saying?
So most of it's just like circumstantial shit. Like, for instance, I haven't heard any direct source say these things, so I'm not going to say that these are my opinions or these are my interpretations of the truth. But I've heard that the autopsy...
Say them in a different voice so people don't cut it and act like you were saying it.
Fair enough. The autopsy... But, I'll get back to it. I've heard that the autopsy for George Floyd does not indicate suffocation as cause of death. Again, no idea how true that is, how wrong that is. And then there's so the one thing I can say about myself is that I will always be one to desire truth in these kind of matters.
Fact.
It's like I don't know why he was even pulled over to begin with. I haven't done my own research on that yet.
Yeah, they say he was trying to pay with a fake $20 bill.
Yeah. Okay. So counterfeit money, and but like at the same time, why the fuck does that result in him being dead? You know what I mean? Like, are you shitting me? If I go to 7-Eleven right now and I buy a shit ton of chips with a fake $20 bill, am I gonna be dead? Absolutely not. I'm gonna live another 20 years probably, right? Like minimum.
Yeah.
Like I'll be fine.
Yeah.
So me saying these things, me saying that I desire the truth, does not contradict the fact that I feel there is a clear imbalance in the justice system and an imbalance in how justice is expressed and acted out. But I do feel it's important to understand what actually happened, right? Like, what caused his death? Why he's dead, for God's sake, right? Why was he pulled over? Like, they don't really matter in the long run. But in other cases, maybe the person that was pulled over, maybe he did have a gun on his passenger seat, or we don't know, right? But again, that does not contradict. It's just saying that, like, the truth is important, and we do need to find a way to search for that on our own, right? Like that's all I'm really saying here. I'm not saying that like, oh, well, we don't know why the cops killed him, so the cops have free reign. Go for it, right? I'm not saying that. Please don't clip that. Please, for the love of God, don't clip that. I am not saying that shit. But no, man, like, I definitely think that knowing the truth has its merits, and it's something we shouldn't overlook because of emotion.
Mm-hmm. And that all goes back again to why this is as blown up as it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's so many things about this situation that remind us of what really happens. So it's easy to be passionate, it's easy to be emotional about it.
Mm-hmm.
But there is, I'm not sure how, I'm trying to be careful with words, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I've been tiptoeing this whole time, bro.
That's funny, but it really doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is, there's definitely a reason, like we were saying earlier, why this is as big as it is. And for people to even have an argument on, well, we don't know the facts, is like so irrelevant to the what we're talking about. Like this, George Floyd is a representation of what happens. You know what I'm saying? So for someone to immediately say what was the facts with his case is like, okay, I pretty much just want to ignore that this happens all the time. However, on the other side of that is, why was this blown out of proportion, and why is it on every like news station, and why are these videos keep being posted? It's for a reason.
And
you know?
Also on that note, why wasn't another case blown out of proportion and on the news and all that, right? Like,
and that's the thing that we're, if we say that, then it seems like we're on the other side. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like what about this white girl that got killed by a black police? You know what I'm saying? Obviously, that is not going. I don't know. I don't know. But we do know if it bleeds, it leads. You know. So there's so much behind this. Like the fact that they're having a like. I don't want to get into Black Lives Matter. I really don't. But just the fact that, nice hoodie, by the way.
Oh, you saw that.
Just the fact that I heard that they're broadcasting his memorial on Revolt TV or something like that. For what? You know what I'm saying?
For the ratings.
You know what I'm saying? And
it's for the ratings, dude.
Like, exactly what we're talking about. Like, this specific instance is supposed to make you and I hate each other even. And that's what's really, like, becoming clear as day. Like, what I was thinking about, because Malcolm X, he said this a long time ago when it comes to, like, white liberals versus white conservatives. It's like, white conservatives, they tell you what it is. Like, but liberals will be, like, sneaky about it. You know what I'm saying? Like they lie to you to act like they give a fuck about you when they really don't. And that's what this has made so clear out of anything is the left side acting like they give a fuck about us and blowing these things out of proportion again for us to just draw that line in the sand. It's like, you know, if you're on the right side, you're a racist, you're a bigot. You know, if you're on the left side, you're for equality for everybody. But nothing is that red and blue or that black and white. You know, nothing is that cut and dry. So what I'm really annoyed by when it comes to liberals or the left right now is I think of it as like, imagine you're a dude trying to go on a date with a girl, right? And you try to smash, right? You're just like, that's what it is. But before I go on this date, I know that she's into anime. Okay, so let me watch a bunch of animes real quick. Let me peep game. Let me see what's good with that. Okay, I know Naruto. I can throw that out there. Let's see. I can say Dragon Ball Z, but that's everybody knows that. You know what I'm saying? Oh,
Do you want me to throw some names out there?
What happened?
Do you want me to throw some names out there, bro? I got you.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Attack on Titan. My Hero Academia. Promise Neverland.
Fact. So I'd be hitting you up at like, bro, give me some Naruto shit that I could like relate to her about, right? And then okay, she really likes house music. Okay, I can
let me find a playlist.
Exactly. Let me find this playlist. Okay, Chance the Rapper has like one house song. Let's see, like Drake, he kind of like he does. It's kind of house, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just finding this real surface level shit that you can like relate to her about. But at the end of the day, you're just trying to smash. You know what I'm saying? And like during this day, that's what the left is doing to us right now. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh yeah, Black Lives Matter. Yeah, LGBTQ plus community, they're going through this, and kids are in cages. Fuck with us. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what is really, because if you're a revolutionary, you're not political at all. You know what I'm saying? If you really, because we've heard the saying like both right wing and left wing they're both on the same bird. One is on the side, it's the same bird.
One of the things
the same spot.
I was gonna say earlier was, do you really think Trump and Hillary at the end of that election they weren't eating at the same table? Like, come on,
facts,
bro. Those two people, their pockets are so thick. They'll have money we'll never see in our lifetime, and they can spend it on a dime. Right? Their life is so totally different from how you and I live. Right?
Yeah.
Like there's just no comparison. So to think that either of them stand in solidarity with either of us, like, go fuck yourself. Yeah. You're so foolish to think that. There's no way that Trump could understand the things that I go through, the things that you go through. There's no way that Hillary would understand either of those things.
Yeah. Facts. My
fuck politics.
I just got the 10% on my battery, but I'm gonna power through it. But I want to talk to you about the basically, because you said you grew up in a very conservative household, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the right side really just being like, we'll speak of Christians in particular, churchgoers that really only support anything conservative or Republican because of two things, and you can name them off that. What are they?
God and capitalism.
No.
No, like, bro.
No, that's great. No. That's what they live by. But what I'm talking is, what are two things on the right side that they know they are against on the left side? That means they have to be on the right side.
Oh shit! Well, one was abortion.
And the other is?
Bro, I took a step back so long ago, man.
Bro, it's gay rights. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, bro. Damn, dude, bro. Listen, that used to be me, and then I took a step back, and now that shit's just every day. It's like, dude, why do I care?
Bro, those are the only two things. And again, now someone need to stop me now. It's probably good that my phone's dying because I don't need to be putting this negativity out there. But just like that, those two things are like, I am against abortion and I am against gay rights. Therefore, I am Republican. I don't know shit about politics. I don't know anything else on their policies, on what they're doing, but I know that they're anti-abortion. So, and that's what I'm talking about. The same thing is going like, if you're like, you know what, Black Lives Matter, I stand in solidarity with the LGBTQ plus community, and I also don't think kids should be in cages. I'm a Democrat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then if you're like, well, all lives matter, and nobody should be aborted, and gays shouldn't get married, then you're obviously a Republican. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to like, we don't even know what the fuck we're talking about. We don't know who we're supporting. And we don't know, there's so many things that are up here, and they're just dangling these little pieces of candy. Oh, abortion's wrong, right? Come on our side. Hey, Black Lives Matter, come on. And it's like, come on, bro. I'm done, man.
It kind of goes back to the Jeffrey Epstein thing. We don't know. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know what goes on when the door is closed, right? We'll never be at that level to understand it.
Thanks.
Yeah. Hey, man. Well, your battery's dying, so I think this is great opportunity to end it.
Yeah, bro, they hacked into my phone, bro. And
they don't want the truth out there. Hey, if you got anything to plug, now's your chance. I'm wearing it. I'm wearing it 2-layered, bro.
Oh,
We're doubled up, man. This is the new one.
Man, I fuck with you the long way, bro. And then you already know. Protect your soul.
Protect your soul.
You know.
Yep.
So yeah, anybody want to go, burgundycollection.com. That's where my capitalistic ruse take place. Look, music, Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, Thomas Burgundy, Thomas like the train, Burgundy like the color. You already know what it is, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. This has been great. I'm gonna drop links when I put this to the YouTube. That was the oldest boomer sentence I've ever said in my life. Put this to the YouTube. Oh, Jesus. When I upload this on YouTube, I'm gonna drop links to your website as well as your Spotify.
For sure.
Yeah.
Did we get any comments?
We had a couple questions, but I just kind of powered through. So.
Yeah, for sure.
But we might just do a follow up. Who knows?
Hey, man,
we'll see what the comments on YouTube look like. Hey, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for
bro.
taking your time out to just talk with me and get me through my ignorance.
Man, just know when we get done with this conversation, dismantle your privilege, bro.
Okay.
And
I will.
All right, bro. I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, yes, sir. You have a good one, brother.
All right.
Well, thank you for sticking through it. Appreciate you. Hopefully that was enlightening to some and to some extent maybe a little bit entertaining. I don't know. We'll see you next time.